Well, welcome everyone to the Financial Coach Master Training Informational Webinar. We're excited that you got into the live presentation. We had over 2,200 people register for this webinar alone, so it's definitely going to be a lot of fun. We're going to spend the next 45 to 50 minutes sharing with you the exciting news about FCMT and the changes that have come about that program, and then we're also going to spend some time answering your questions at the end as well. So, my name is Chris Campbell, and I am the Associate Director here of Financial Coaching. Joining me today is Bill Lowe, the Senior Director of Financial Coaching as well. So we'll be the folks that will be hosting this webinar here for you as well. Now, before we get started, a little bit of housekeeping. I've already put a pre-message in there for you guys that came on a little early, but for those of you that are just joining us, here's how you're going to ask questions. On the right-hand side of your screen, you'll see an orange arrow. If you expand that out, that will allow you to type in questions. You can actually raise your hand as well, but if you can just type the questions in, that will allow us to read those, and then we can answer those verbally at the end. So as you're walking through the presentation, go ahead and take some good notes. If something you're like, hey, what did he say, or how does that work? Be sure and ask about that. We want to answer as many questions as possible as well. Also, we are recording this event, so if for some reason we can't get to your question today, make sure and go back and listen to that. That will be sent out an hour after we wrap up, so you'll get an email on that as well. Okay, so that will take care of that. Last thing, we're going to be giving away a free seat to our training at the end. So hang in there with us. We want to give that to you, plus some other prizes. And then going with that, I want to go ahead and give away one prize right now, which will be a EntreLeadership signed book by Dave Ramsey. EntreLeadership was one of the best sellers that we've ever had when it came to a book. EntreLeadership is how we run our company, how we've done over $100 million company debt-free from day one, how we hire, how we fire, how we do everything at Ramsey Solutions. And Dave wrote that, so we'll have him sign that. And the winner of that is Tom J. Okay, I'm not going to say last names to save privacy there, but Tom J., you're the winner of that. We're super excited to have you on the webinar with us today. All right, so Bill, let's get started, man.
Excellent. Hey, everybody. Welcome. I'm Bill Lowe, and I'm happy to have an opportunity to spend some time with you all today. So why don't we start kind of at a current look at the state of affairs in the United States today. And this is a really good slide, but there's a lot of data points on it. We get that it's kind of busy. Kind of the big picture point as I look at this slide is really that 10 years since the start of the Great Recession, right? It really seems like most people, not everybody, but most people really haven't learned a thing, right? So I'm going to kind of pick out a couple spots here to talk about real briefly. And so kind of go down to that bottom left, the average consumer debt part of the slide down there. So, that is a mountain of debt that people are climbing on right now. And so, you think in terms of $1.34 trillion in student loan debt. And when we started, it wasn't but a year or two or three ago, Chris, right?
Right.
We had data points that the average student loan debt was in the 30s, right?
Right.
Now it's over $50,000, right? The average car loan today is about $30,000, 29 and change. Average car loan lengthwise, saw this the other day, is approaching 7 years. Okay,
yeah, it's crazy.
So kind of the days of 36 months and oh my gosh, a 4-year loan for a car are kind of over. And so it is a mountain of debt. And so over to the kind of middle right, 7 out of 10 couples do not budget consistently. This is a survey question that we got out of our FPU, our Financial Peace University course here in late 17. And as you guys might know, budgeting is just simply telling your money where to go ahead of time. And we really believe that it's the key to winning with money. And most people don't do that.
Yeah, and something to say about that survey, Bill, is, we've had over 3 million people go through that program. And these are people who are interested in getting their money right? 3 million people, and they're saying, hey, this is kind of what we're coming in as, and also some of them kind of coming out as.
Yep.
7 out of 10, that's a big deal.
It is. And so right below that, 66% of Americans would struggle to pay for a $1,000 emergency. You guys might have seen these statistics as you're reading the paper or you're on the web. But really what that means kind of in real life, instead of just a kind of a sterile slide on a PowerPoint, most people are one bad alternator or one water heater going out from a real financial crisis, right? And what do they do when those two things happen and they're not prepared for that? they're compelled to pull out their credit card and pay on that at 16% or worse, right? Middle of the slide here, that 78% of people living paycheck to paycheck. Let's dig a little deeper into that slide, because that's really kind of a sad testament of where we are, but really almost 8 out of 10 people that we know, that you know, are living paycheck to paycheck. And you really kind of wrap your head around that for a second. Think about your neighborhood. If you live in in your typical neighborhood, 100 of your neighbors. Maybe you work at a moderate to large company, 100 of your coworkers. Maybe you're at a church where there's a couple thousand people, 100 people there. Almost 80% of those have zero margin in their finances, right? If anything goes sideways, they're sunk. And here's the other thing too. Not that it's important to know who they are, it really isn't, but the bottom line is you can't tell who's financially stressed these days, right? You can't tell anymore. Mm-hmm. Everyone's got an iPhone 10, mm-hmm. right? Everyone's driving, it seems like, a new Ford Explorer, mm-hmm. or you're on their Facebook and they're telling you about their awesome family vacation in Destin, Florida. So you just have no idea. But it's an epidemic out there, guys, and really this slide kind of cuts to the heart of why our company, Ramsey Solutions, does what we do, and why it's so important to us to help deliver and develop coaches who can help us solve this. All right, so a question that we get periodically is, where have Ramsey Solutions trained coaches come from, right? And so the answer is they come from all over the place, and actually they come from all backgrounds as well. And so really, all over the place. The continental United States, really all 48 of the continental United States, we get a good take rate of people that come and go through our training. A lot of folks you can see in that top left in Alaska, Hawaii. We have a good chunk of folks from Canada, South America. Then you're going to go over to the rest of the globe. It kind of surprised us at first, but it really has stopped surprising us, the amount of folks that we see from places like Great Britain, Australia, etc.
Yeah, and guys, this is not like even the best representation. Our designer had a hard time. We've had people from all over the world come to Nashville, be a part of our training, and learn how to do what we do and take it back to where they are from. And there's always a common question, right? Well, there's people coming from other countries. Aren't the laws different? Aren't the taxes different and things like that? No, the behavior is the same. People still live paycheck to paycheck almost no matter where you live. I talked to a lady last week from Canada. Over half the residents of Canada live paycheck to paycheck. We deal with issues on budgeting, cash flow planning, and debt elimination. Very seldom do you have to deal with somebody on their taxes or their retirement. And if so, that's why we have CPAs. That's why we have financial advisors.
Yeah, and so really the commonality of all those people from all over is that they want to be part of the solution. In terms of backgrounds, this is one of the things that I find so really interesting about the people that come through our program, again, is how varied it is. There really is not a blueprint. We have teachers, we have firemen, we have Border Patrol agents, right? One of the most awesome guys that Chris and I met this year was a guy down in Texas, or was it Arizona?
He was in Arizona.
In Arizona, who was a Border Patrol agent, phenomenal guy that is sold out to take this message of financial coaching into that Border Patrol community, right? Stay-at-home moms. We have real estate agents and CPAs and financial advisors that are looking to add this to their overall
professional
practice.
Football players.
Yeah, that was the one that really got us, and I'm not going to tell you a name, but he was a Green Bay Packer, right, of a couple years ago that came through the program. Yep. Retired bankers. Again, it's varied. There is no blueprint in terms of the background needed or required to come through this program. Now, as you heard Chris say just a second ago, we're just starting in 2018, our 18th year running a coach training program, right? And so for 17 of those years, the training required traveling to Nashville, Tennessee, where our company is based out of. Now, if you're not familiar with what's happening in Nashville these days, gang, you need to be. It's a hot town, right? Mm-hmm. Nashville is an awesome town, but it's a big ask, frankly. And for most people that are coming here for part of the training, or in years past, the entire training was here, it's a big ask in the sense that, for most people, it's $1,000, $1,500, sometimes from some of those crazy places they're coming to, a lot more in additional travel costs, and really the better part of a week vacation or time away from family to make that work. And it was a barrier, and we hate barriers, right? We're trying to bring down barriers, make things more accessible. And that was the feedback that we received really loud and clear over the past 3-4 years. And so I have some good news for you. Starting this year, all that changes. We are going to make, and we have made, FCMT an online training program.
Right.
Really cool news.
Which is a really, really big deal, guys.
Yep.
I mean, if you think about it, almost 2 decades we've been doing it one way, and we're shifting to this. So that always brings up the questions, right? Over the years, we've always had questions about what makes a great coach. I mean, Bill just kind of covered the background and how background really has nothing at all to do with it. It doesn't matter if you're a financial advisor. It doesn't matter if you're a stay-at-home mom. It doesn't matter if you're a football player. Those things do not matter. If you can sell insurance, you can sell investments, or if you can do taxes, that also doesn't matter. We're looking for 2 things, and it sounds like a brochure filler, and one of those is the heart of a teacher. You want to see other people succeed. You've either had success yourself or you're having success yourself, and you say, man, I want to see other people do what I'm doing. That's one of the major characteristics of Dave Ramsey himself. It's missional mindset. He wants to get to the next person to get them what he's got, and that's a big deal. The other is the willingness to learn. Guys, we've had people that have been interested in our training over the years, and they've been like, hey, what could you teach me? And I'm like, nothing. There is nothing. Generally, that question exposes it all, right? There's nothing else to teach that person. So the willingness to learn, because, see, coaching is one of those things. It's not a take this test, earn this designation or certification. It is you will constantly grow. Everything changes all the time. You're dealing with behavior. You're dealing with people's personalities, whatever you want to call it. Those 2 things sound like brochure filler, but they're absolutely what we're looking for. When I talk to people about coaching, this is what I'm looking for. No other background. When people lead out with every other designation and the whole alphabet behind their name, I'm almost like, I wonder if the willingness to learn is going to come up here in a second. Like, what am I going to be able to teach them, right? Or heart of a teacher, where they're just constantly trying to do something else other than help someone else. That's a big deal. And then ultimately, guys, it's about a desire to be a part of something greater than themselves. Like I mentioned with Dave, it's missional mindset. There's tons of people. Bill mentioned that number 78%. Guys, do you realize that in America that represents over 250 million people that are in that position? Now, I get it. Everybody right now is doing super well, it looks like, right? It's the turkey in a tornado syndrome. They really can't fly, but the wind's just kind of inertia's picking them up. You know, that's what we're experiencing right now. And so that's what makes a great coach, guys. Heart of a teacher and the willingness to learn. Now, this is what brings us to the other question that we get a ton. Why do people even take this training? Well, there's really 3 things that we see people do and the reasons why they come to our training. They want to launch a ministry, whether that be at their church, in their community, at a nonprofit they work with or want to work with, because there's a lot of people who they say, hey, they got people coming in. We want to bring somebody on just to help these people. So they launch that ministry. We also have people, surprising to some of you guys, I'm sure, launch a coaching side business, and they start charging people for coaching. Now, usually when you see that, the first thing people say is like, well, they're already hurting for their money. Why would you charge them for that? Well, guys, we all know that if you don't put something into something, if you get something for free, we generally don't treat it right. We all teach our kids that, right? They didn't pay for that. They don't treat it the same. It's amazing when they pay for it, how well they take care of it, how well they clean it, what they do with it. However, when someone goes through coaching, and we see it on our end as well, we'll give away sessions. Dave on the radio will give away sessions with our team, and the people never show up. When people have something invested in it, it's way better for them and also for the coach as well. Now, another thing we see people do is they come in and they want to sharpen their saw. They want to create that confidence and competence while helping others. So maybe they're leading Financial Peace University, or maybe they're just, hey, listen, I work with people and I'm kind of that voice of reason for my community. I'm not really wanting to do the ministry, don't want to do a business. I just want to sharpen my saw. They come to this as well. Now, this has been an interesting fact that we've seen over the years, though, is that about 70% do a combination of both ministry and business. So if you're going, well, Chris, what if I want to do ministry, but I want to do some business? That's fine. Well, what if I want to do ministry, but have a business, but have a ministry component? That's what we do. And that's okay. You can totally do that. The difference between the 2 is money. That's it. You're taking money or you're not taking money.
The skill set is the same.
The skill set is the same. How you become a coach, what you say as a coach, all the same. Taking money is the only difference between those two. So guys, that's the reason why people take the training, to launch a ministry or to launch a side coaching business. All right. So Bill, tell the group a little bit about why FCMT Online.
Yeah, absolutely, Chris. And so, we're really excited around here these days, right? Because we've been doing this a long time, but what we've done is we've taken all that we've learned and all the feedback that we've received over the last 17 years and are using it to launch our next gen coach training program, FCMT Online. Again, we're really excited about this. It's a blended learning approach. There's online components. There's virtual live components. It's an anytime from your home or your office at your own pace. Again, Chris is going to get down in the weeds and explain it in more detail here in a minute, but we're really excited. So, why FCMT Online? You could maybe make a case, it's really why partner with Ramsey Solutions through FCMT Online. You like Dave. I've heard Chris say this before, and I'm going to steal it basically, but, you like Dave or you don't like Dave, but you've heard of Dave, right?
That's right. Yep.
Okay, and that's kind of true, right? And so really it's about leveraging the Ramsey Solutions globally trusted brand for you as a Ramsey trained coach, right? And so I'm not going to bombard you with a ton of statistics. Many of you are probably real familiar with who you are, but for those on the webinar that are casually familiar, Dave runs the #3 radio show in the United States. There's 14 million people listen every week on 600 radio stations all over the United States. There's 10 million people download the Dave Ramsey radio show as a podcast each week. In 2017, it was the #4 most downloaded podcast on the planet. Okay? Yeah. Wrap your head around that for a second, right? Hundreds of thousands of people have completed our core program, Financial Peace University. Every year they go through that. And again, we write a lot of best-selling books. Probably the book that we're most known for is The Total Money Makeover. Came out in 2003, so we're about, 15 years in on that book, and it's still hitting the bestseller list each and every year. It's pretty amazing. Okay, so people know who we are, and if you're a Ramsey trained coach, that adds credibility and confidence and a little oomph to you being a financial coach. The second point of the why is really about learning from 25 years in the trenches, okay? Before all that I just said, before the radio show, before Financial Peace University, before books, the very first thing this company did was Dave himself, being a financial coach, working with people one-on-one here in Greater Nashville, right, Chris?
That's right.
Just coming out of bankruptcy too, by the way. So wrap your head around that.
Yeah.
Okay. So it goes to the very foundation of our company. And, over that 25 years, you can't even imagine how many mistakes we have made. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But along with all that comes, tens of thousands of repetitions and learnings that we're going to share with you and help you shorten that learning curve. Okay. It's also about access to our playbook and our forms. The things that we do up to this very moment to run the coaching business inside of Ramsey Solutions. We're going to open up our playbook and share everything we do. Again, we're very transparent. We're going to tell you the things that we do that work really, really well. So maybe you can replicate them or take it and tweak it a little bit and apply it out in your area, right? We're going to tell you where we've stubbed our toes and got kicked in the shins as well, and why. So maybe you can avoid some of that pain and shorten your learning curve again, okay? Again, it's what we do, how we do it, why we do it, okay? The other thing, too, is the why is, we don't want you being in this alone. We don't want you to feel that you're in this alone. And the good news is you're not going to be alone if you choose to be part of this, okay? We have an awesome team. I'm blessed to have an awesome coaching team, and we are 100% dedicated to giving you the competence and the confidence that you're going to need to coach people one-on-one in your community, okay? All right, so to land the plane on this slide, if I could boil it down to a single equation, right? We try to simplify wherever we can. So it's a simple desire to help other people improve their finances and start winning with money. That's the starting point, is that desire, that heart, okay? You couple that with a proven process, 25 years in the trenches, right? The outcome of that, we call that a successful coach. Now, clearly, there are probably dozens of definitions of what success means, okay? And they're all valid to, maybe to completely. I was going to say to a point, but probably completely. The one that I like I'm probably going to date myself here, but there was a guy back in the day. His name was Earl Nightingale, and he was out of Chicago, Illinois, and he was a motivational speaker on the radio, a lot of self-help, kind of the father of the self-help industry and so forth. Earl Nightingale had a quote on success that I really like. He said, "Success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal." Okay, and to me and Chris and our team, what we take out of that, it's all about that constantly moving towards something worthwhile, right? You probably never really get there, but it's that progressive realization of something. You know, our team is 25 years in, and we're still pursuing. Okay, so that's how we define success, right? So as I mentioned, Chris is going to get down in the weeds here now and talk about what specifically is included in FCMT Online.
Yeah.
Chris?
Thanks, Bill. Yeah, guys. So FCMT Online is an interactive online experience that will teach you how to coach someone from crisis to retirement. If you think about somebody being sick, we want to stabilize them. And then once we get them stabilized, then we want to help them thrive. That's the point of that. So you can meet somebody at any of those three areas and help them in their pursuit of success, as Bill just mentioned. So how do we do that? So over 14 hours of engaging coaching videos that are led by Chris Hogan and Dave Ramsey, two of the best coaching minds on the planet from my perspective. Now, guys, we also offer interactive group calls after each lesson section that will allow you to break down the information that you're learning. We don't want you just to take in the information and then regurgitate it back out. We really want this to get down in your soul. So our coaches, we have 3 on our staff. And guys, these are 3 of Dave's personal coaches that work on our staff. There's not this massive conglomerate of people sitting out in a call center waiting to take your call. It's 3 of our people that are waiting to help you with the information that they helped create with us. So we do those interactive group calls with your peers and those coaches to help you digest that information and help you learn, validate, and apply that as well. As Bill mentioned, and really we've driven into the ground, we've struck oil at this point, key coaching insights and best practices from 25 years of working with people one-on-one. These coaches have done that. One of our coaches has been coaching people since 1993. All of our other coaches have been doing it, over a decade and even some more. These coaches are the best at what they do. I cannot give you enough insight into what they do and can do and will do for you. Also, we have office hours for chat. So let's just say it's outside of one of those calls and you have questions about what you're learning. Our team dedicates time, all of the time, to answer your questions. Throughout the week, if you have questions, you want to chat those in, boom, let's get those answered for you. You may see that, wow, you're not alone. A lot of other people had questions about that. And we'll tell you, well, how do you take that information in faster or better? Or how can you apply that? That's what those office hours there are for almost every day. 2 other things that I'm really excited about that we've never done before that are going to add so much more value to this is the Q&A group webinars we'll do each month as well. This will allow the big groups, everyone who's going through the training, to just jump on a call, and we're just going to answer any and all questions that you guys may have, course related or not. We answer all kinds of questions. And if you're thinking, well, I'm not really the type of person to ask a lot of questions, probably not even going to ask you a question today, Chris, that's fine. You can learn from what other people are asking. And that's where you can also continue to learn. Your peer-to-peer engagement, but then also our coaches' engagement is huge. Another one I'm super excited about as well is the Flash webinar. So guys, life happens. Financial issues happen. Things happen. Laws change. One that's happening right now, like it or love it, is the tax code. The tax code's changing. Now, guys, we're not CPAs. We don't tell people how to do their taxes, but we do coach them on how to separate the truth versus noise. When someone asks you about this as a financial coach, here's how we're helping people on that right now. If the stock market were to crash 40% tomorrow, drop way down, okay, great. How do you coach somebody on that? How do you help them not lose their mind over this when everybody else is? Or it's soaring, and man, there's something else that came out. These Flash webinars are all about that. And guys, we always, if you're on a call with somebody, you're like, hey man, I'd love to hear this, and we see enough people want that, we'll just do one of those for you as well. That's the purpose of this. As you can see, there's a lot of interactivity inside of this program as well. Of course, you do have unlimited access to all the Ramsey coaching forms and our bonus material. So even after you complete the program, guess what, guys? You're going to be coaching people. You're going to be helping people. We want you to have our forms that we've created over the last 20 years and helping people. Guys, we used to send out, as Bill would say, War and Peace to people. They would have to complete it. It was so much content they had to get back to us. And now we've kind of boiled it down and we said, these are the important things. These are what people need. the last thing that you need in their life is more friction to help them not be able to get to you faster. So our forms and all of our bonus material are included in that. We also do coaching exercises to help you learn, validate, and practice. Again, learn the material. We want to see you validate it through quizzes and tests. And then we also have activities where we want you to put that into play, right? That's how you learn. That's how you become a confident and competent financial coach. Here's some cool stuff as well. When we were creating this, we said, hey, what's going to make the coach go from a 10 to an 11? What's going to make them better than even what they would have been, even if they did more than the training? So we're giving folks over $300 worth of built-in value into the program, stuff like access to FPU Online. There's a simple will in there. Even if you already have a will, you're going to meet with people who don't even know what a will is. So we want to show you, like, here's how you can help them get the ball rolling with that. And you don't have to do anything. We just want you to see what they do. The DISC test, personalities, guys. If you hadn't met one yet, you got one. I promise you. Everybody's got a personality. And our DISC test is a lot different than the Myers-Briggs, where there's like the entire alphabet you have to memorize. Ours is just 4 letters. But it's not so much about you. It's how do you coach other people and their personalities? Because if you're not detailed and you're coaching someone who is, that's frustrating. Or if you're very detailed and they are not, very frustrating. So we teach you how to coach the other personalities. The best budgeting app on the planet right now, EveryDollar Plus. We also give that to you as well. Plus ebooks. Now, guys, why would we give you physical books if we're having an online course? So we'll give you ebooks that you can listen to, read on your own time, and allow you to do that. But, guys, these are unlocked throughout the whole program. We want you to walk through the program. We want to give you some bonuses for completing lessons and stuff. That's over $300 worth of stuff we give you in there as well. Plus, we also tell you about our reading list, the reading list that our coaches have used over the years that have helped them become better financial coaches. Dave says it best. Leaders are readers. And if you're not reading, again, it goes back to that willingness to learn, you're not growing. Life is uphill on roller skates. You're either going forward, and it's hard sometimes, or you're rolling backwards. There's no complacency. Coaches read, and that's why we give that to you. We also give you a designation of a Ramsey Solutions Master Financial Coach once the course is completed. So you earn that, guys. You ever seen someone behind their name, they have these list of letters, and you're like, well, I wonder what that means. Well, when somebody sees Ramsey Solutions, they're going to go, like Bill mentioned earlier, oh, I know about them or whatever. But what do you do? Well, my distinctive competency as a financial coach is to help you with the day-to-day pain points. No one else addresses those. And then you can explain to them what you went through to get that and how you get that and what that name represents. Guys, we're super protective over our name. It's not for sale. Not everybody just gets it. But when you complete the course, that's what you earn, and that's a big deal. Another thing, and guys, this came from Dave. We kind of, most people would come to the training, as Bill mentioned earlier, for a week. They had a workbook. They go home, and it's done. Well, he said, hey, we need to give everybody a year's full access to this material. So when you register for the training, you get a year's full access to all the videos, to the team chat, and all of the materials. So you have plenty of time to work through it. As we mentioned, it's self-paced, so you don't have to rush through it. But we do anticipate most folks to complete it in about 60 to 90 days. That's about the average. But if life happens and you want to take a little longer than that, you're more than welcome to. If life happens and you want to go through it a little faster than that, you're welcome to, okay? Now, also, we have our local coach development program and a listing on DaveRamsey.com. So some folks after the training, and I'll show this to you in a second, launch on their own, they get going. Other folks are like, hey, how do I stay connected? I can't tell you more a question that was asked of us more than, hey, what's next? What else can we do to stay connected? Or how can we continue working with you guys? So we created these programs that allow you to continue to develop with us. It's scheduled monthly engagements that we do with folks, plus phone and email access to our team, plus, yes, the coveted listing on DaveRamsey.com that allows you to have even more recognition there. So those programs are available, and again, I'll explain those to you here in just a moment. So, Bill, if you don't mind, tell the group a little bit about like what some of the lessons look like, and you don't have to go too deep, but tell them a little bit about it.
Yeah, absolutely. We're really excited about this. There are 13 relevant and impactful lessons inside of FCMT Online, and really they kind of run the gamut from the financially sick, kind of the scary stuff like bankruptcy, student loans, foreclosures, collectors, etc., to the thriving end of the equation, to estate planning and retirement and insurance and so forth, right? So we're covering all the bases. It's been really well thought out, okay? It's also about getting started, right? And so, probably maybe my most favorite lesson is that one in the bottom right, starting your coaching practice, right? Whether you're looking to do this as a ministry or a business, kind of getting out of the gate, getting off the ground for a lot of people is hard sometimes. Not for everybody, but we recognize based on feedback that it is a little challenging. So we're going to put a whole lesson just about starting your practice, right? And all what goes into that based on real world experience, again, to get you up and running, whichever approach you're looking to do quicker, right? Ramsey Solutions coaching process, our coaching models, here again, beating this into the ground. We've been doing this a long time. We've tried some different things, and we think we have the porridge just about warm right now in terms of the right coaching process and options on how you work with people. We're all going to lay it out for you and walk you through what that looks like, okay? The core lessons inside of FCMT are led by Chris Hogan, okay? And so, again, if you're not familiar with Chris Hogan, he's one of our Ramsey personalities. He's a world-class speaker, very in demand. He wrote a #1 best-selling book, Retire Inspired, a year or two ago. Beyond that, he was actually a coach on our team for 10 years, right? So this is not a talking head. This isn't some guy that just doesn't know what he's talking about. This is somebody that did thousands of coaching sessions over a 10-year period of time, and he's going to be the person that's going to kind of lead the core foundational lessons, and then our team will come around you and help you, again, breathe life into those lessons through a series of activities and webinars, et cetera, that'll really seal that in, okay? So these lessons are a really good foundation to give you what you need. Make sense?
Makes total sense. So, again, going back to the designation, so once you successfully complete the program, you do earn the Ramsey Solutions Master Financial Coach designation. So not only do you earn that, but we'll also get you a certificate of completion as well that you can hang in your office and display with pride. That's a big deal, guys. Again, that's where the confidence and competence comes from. Most of the folks who engage with us, and they're saying, hey, I'm thinking about doing this. I'll ask, hey, why are you doing? Why do you want to do coaching? They're like, well, I'm actually already kind of doing it, but, people always ask me like, hey, where were you trained or what do you do? And I don't really have anything. And now they're able to say, hey, I went through training with Dave Ramsey's group, and now I'm a trained financial coach, a Ramsey Solutions Master Financial Coach. So it's also that credibility. It's built for your competence and competence, but it's more so for their credibility as well. So it's a big deal. So as I mentioned to you, I talked to you about like, hey, so what do people do after the training? So we talked about that launch a ministry, launch a side hustle. But what about after the training as far as re-engaging with our team, doing that, developing, whatever that looks like? So 60-ish% of folks who come through our training begin coaching on their own. It's perfect for self-starters or just non-starters, right? It could be either way. They have ongoing access to the forms like you talked about and the bonus materials, so they kind of have everything they need, and they just go launch, guys.
And we're thrilled with that, by the way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because that's a testament that we've done our job.
Yeah.
We've given them exactly what they need to take it and go fly.
If I said 10% right here, we'd be failing,
Yeah.
right? I'm saying 60%. 60% of people are already ready to go. And guys, sometimes those numbers fluctuate based on graduation. Sometimes it goes higher than that. But that's what we see. The other group that we see join our local coach program, which is ongoing access and development with our in-house team. They continue access. As I mentioned, you get a year's access to the program. Well, once you join that program, it continues your access to the online program as well. Plus, we do monthly coaching calls with our coaches and other subject matter experts on sales, marketing, and launching your coaching practice. One of the most active private Facebook groups I've ever seen is a part of this group as well. It's a closed group, but coaches from all over the country are sharing, here's what's working for me, here's what's not working, what would you guys do in this situation? It's amazing what they do. Plus, you get product discounts for your clients, and then wow, the phone and email access to our coaching team, which is huge. So if you have a question and maybe an email is just not working, let's just schedule a quick call. Let's talk that out real quick and see how we can help you get past that. That's a big deal. Anyway, guys, that program is $59 a month. Really, really great program to be a part of. And then the last one is the Local Coach Plus program. And this is where I talked about being listed on DaveRamsey.com, where people are going, I want to work with a coach. I need some help. And they go on our site and they go, where's a coach? And that's all zip code logic. So we send them to the closest coach in their area. Now here's something cool that second plus box right there is that we're actually going to be rolling out soon. We were in a meeting this morning with Daniel Ramsey, Dave's son. He's kind of heading this up, and it's called our Ask a Coach program. So in Financial Peace University, starting sometime first part of this year, people can go on there and say, hey, I'm going through the program. I want to ask a coach a question. And sometimes those are quick questions. Other times those lead to coaching appointments. But there's hundreds of thousands of people that go through that program. There's hundreds of thousands of people who come through DaveRamsey.com and tens of thousands that want to work with a coach. So we have a lot of people. Now, guys, we don't know what that price point is going to be on that program yet. We're rolling that out.
We're still working on it.
But anyway, that's kind of coming. But again, to answer the quick question, what about after the training? These are the items that we see people do if they don't want to start their own thing. And again, not everybody's interested on those two things on the right. But those that are, we have something for them just to answer that question. So, Bill, if you don't mind, tell the group a little bit about what folks are saying.
Yeah, absolutely. So let me just call out the elephant in the room. We both get it that who puts up negative testimonials, right? Okay.
Right.
And really on the flip side of that is who puts stock in them, right? Okay. But that being said, these are two recent graduates of the program that I wanted to just call out and for a specific purpose. Tara G's on the right in particular, that middle section of her feedback. Thank you for unselfishly sharing the insights and details of your business so that others can replicate it out in their communities. She hit the nail right on the head in terms of what we aspire to do and what we do, right? I talked about sharing, showing what we do, our playbook and so forth. This really captures the heart of what my team and I are trying to do with FCMT, okay? Chris, what are the next steps?
Yeah, guys. So, we've kind of talked about what the program looks like, what lessons look like, how all that works. And so just want to let you know, as Bill mentioned, super excited to have Financial Coach Master Training online rolling out very soon. And so this is the second webinar that we ran this month. The first webinar, we had over 6,000 people ask about it, and we haven't even announced it yet. Dave hasn't been on the air. We haven't been on the radio. We haven't put it on our website, nothing like that, and we have tons of interest in it. And so right now, we're offering like early bird options for people who want to kind of get in early, but the program access opens on February 1st. So the price of the training is $17.95. That covers the full training, okay? That allows you to walk through all the lessons, the full year access, basically everything I just told you. That's what's covered in that $17.95. Okay. As a bonus, though, and we gave this to the other group, and so we didn't have time to change our slides over too quick, but we had over 150 people already registered. So as I mentioned to that group, hey, we only have 200 available spots for people to do an early bird registrant. So we've opened up additional ones for this group as well, because we're not going to disadvantage you just because you're a week later than they are. But we do want to let you know that it's not forever. Okay. So that $17.95 actually becomes $15.95. Using the promo code JAN200, Jan 200, and I've actually just texted out a link on the chat feature right there, a link to the store page. And again, if you go to our website, you're not going to find this. So that page I just gave you is hidden. That promo code is very limited in its uses, and it will give you $200 off. So $17.95 is the normal price, $200 off though if you register in the month of January. So again, that when the 200 seats are gone, that last part is different now. Of course, we added some additional seats there, but it is good through January 31st or whenever that promotional code runs out there. So if you want to register for this, let me tell you this once again. You can go ahead and register today. We're going to have a communication plan between now and the end of the month, and then we will send out access codes to FCMT Online on February 1st, so you can go and get into the program, and then you have a year from that point. Or you can set on your activation code. Like I talked to a couple of CPAs that said, hey, I'm going to be in tax season. Can I set on it until April 1st? Absolutely. Activate it when you're ready, and then you have a year from that date. Okay?
So what do we do? How are we communicating this afternoon after the webinar?
Yeah, so guys, we're going to send an email out. Again, we're going to give away a seat to this in just a second. Don't forget that, so hang in there with us. But right after the webinar, we're going to send out an email that will lay this out as well. Plus, Dave wanted to put a message out. He's pretty pumped up about the program. So you'll get a video from Dave, but then there will also be a link in an email. So if you're on the phone right now with us and you can't see what I'm talking about, there'll be an email coming out to you probably in the next 20, 25 minutes. So you can actually see it there, and you'll see that great message from Dave as well. Also, we will send a recording out of today in case you want to go back and say, what did that guy say? You can go back and listen to it again, and then be able to register then when you're ready, okay? So, guys, let's talk about your questions. Let's talk about what you guys have been asking about. And so let me pull these questions up real quick. Just give me 1 second, okay?
Yeah, it's been, as Chris mentioned, last Thursday we had our first webinar, and we had 6,000 people register for it all around the world. We had over 1,000 people on live, so we had a good splash out of the gates.
You know what, Bill? I just thought about something. So you remember how I talked about that $59 local coach development call, and then we had like a TBD on that right-hand side one right there, where we just don't know the price point on it yet. One of the other things we're doing for the January group is when you register in January, you get the $200 off, like I mentioned, but we're also going to give you that program. So if you're interested, again, not everybody comes
and that's
for
an important
business.
point. Yep.
If you're interested, we'll also just give you that for $59 as well, so that you get the local coach development program plus the local coach plus program. Once you graduate and successfully complete, there won't be an additional price on that one. It's just $59, and that's for the folks that register in the month of January. So just FYI on that. Okay. All right. Let's see here. I would love an opportunity to win this. Has to go to the money I was going to. Oh my goodness. Stephanie, I appreciate that. She wanted to win, but the money that she was going to register for the course, she had an appendectomy, so not going to be able to happen. So we get it. Not a big deal. Let's see here. How can I research if there's enough need for financial coaching in my area?
Really good question.
I'm a bivocational pastor and want to use this as a ministry and extra income. Very good question. You remember Bill's slide? We didn't say that was in Nashville. We didn't say that was in New York City. We also didn't say that was in Woodbury, Tennessee. That's everywhere, Pastor. That's everywhere. If your back hurts, you know to go to the doctor. If your tooth hurts, you know to go to the dentist. If your budget's messed up, where do you go? You want to run out to your CPA and get some help there? Well, they do taxes. You want to run out to your financial advisor? Well, they do investments and insurance. You see, that's the distinctive competency of a coach. It's not where are they, but they don't even know you exist. Could you imagine, right? So that's the way you have to think about it. So they are everywhere. If you don't have people in your town that are in debt, please call me. I want to go there. I've never heard of it before, and it's like a unicorn. I want to go find it. So yes, there's plenty of places to go and plenty of people to help. See here. So a question came in here. Is there special pricing for spouses to take the training together? Guys, it's almost verbatim what the last class was asking, right? The last group that came through last week. Yes, we do have a special rate for pricing for spouses. I'm going to give you my contact information right there. If you don't mind, send me a quick email at chris.campbell@daveramsey.com, and I can give you that pricing if you want to purchase those 2 seats. We also have companies that purchase more than 1 seat as well, and one or more registrations. So just email me or give me a phone call because those questions always come in all the time. So, Bill, a good question for you. Is enrollment only at certain times, or is there a rolling enrollment throughout the year? I want to sign up for this opportunity, but haven't earmarked money in my budget since I didn't know about this till about a week ago.
Yeah, great question. It's the second. It's a rolling enrollment. There aren't a window when you're ready, when you have put aside the money and you want to jump on board and partner with us in this. You give Chris a call, give the link. We'll help you get started.
Good question here for you too, Bill. Are these lessons available only as a package, or can you take them individually? So basically once they go to the program, can they take things individually? Is it kind of a la carte, or do they have to do the whole program?
Yeah, it's a good question. It's a reasonable question, but it's a whole program. So it's a whole holistic program. We've put a lot of thought. We've been working on this for about a year, frankly, and it builds on itself. There's a process to it. There's a thought and a strategy to it. And so reasonable question, but yeah, you don't pick and choose. It's not a la carte.
Bill, I'm sorry, I'm wearing you out here, but what are the payment options for the online course?
Good question. We get this periodically, and so another way of saying that, I'm not saying you're asking this, but if you are, we get questions periodically, will you take payments, right? Can we break this up into 3 or 4 chunks? Again, not a bad question. I understand folks asking it, but the bottom line is that we don't take payments, okay? And again, we're not trying to be obstinate or trying to be difficult, but if we took payments from you, the way we look at it is we'd become your debtor. you'd owe us money.
Yeah.
And that's not the business that we're in, right? It would be pretty counterintuitive to what we're doing. So save up for it. If you have it, great. You're ready to get on board. Fantastic. If it takes you a period of weeks or a couple months or a year or a couple years, we understand.
Great statement here from Corey. I'm a river engineer. I ride riverboats 3-week periods, and then I'm home for 3 weeks. And I've been trying to join this class for 2 years, but it never works with my schedule. Super glad that's unfolded. Guys, we're looking for the Coreys of the world to be a part of the program. He just wants to help people. Big deal right there. Awesome. Okay, so question came in here. Hey, is the local coach program included in the first year? No. Remember I mentioned that like 60% of those people don't want to be a part of that, so we don't want to include something that people don't want. So it's optional, and it's after the training. Okay.
And one more on that point is, because we get a lot of questions on the local coach program, and we're happy that we do, by the way, okay? We don't want to kind of put the cart before the horse. You've heard that saying, right? The core thing we want you focused on right now is the FCMT online training program. We want to tell you about the local coach because, again, we have a lot of interest in it, but at the right time in the course, we start messaging you about opportunities to learn more about it. We have a whole separate webinar that Chris and I lead where we really get down in the weeds and break that program down, tell you what it is, tell you what it isn't, so that you can make an informed decision. So again, don't worry about it. We're just kind of giving you the essence of it now, but at the right time, if you're interested in that, as you go through the course, you'll have an opportunity to learn a lot more.
Yeah, absolutely. So a question came in. Tammy said, hey, should we wait to register for the training until at the end of this seminar? So you will get an email as well, but I've just sent out a link again via chat, so you can use that. Make sure and use promo code JAN200, and that will allow you to take advantage of the discount as well.
I read that a little bit differently. I mean, again, you can wait till the end of the month, but again, we have a certain number of spots open at the price point.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if that's what she was asking or not.
Okay. Yeah.
If you're ready to go, you'll have a link here momentarily. You already have it in your chat feature that Chris embedded in there. Yeah. If you want to wait until the end of the month, or again, whenever the right time for you is, that's fine.
Yeah. Other question came in. Hey, can we ever get a chance to come to Ramsey Solutions if we ever wanted to be a part of that? So, guys, so the training is one thing. After the fact, we have a thing called enrichment. So, and we usually do it maybe once a year. So it's kind of more like a summit. Like we have coaches come in from all over the country, and we bring in some really high-end speakers like Henry Cloud or Donald Miller, Dave Ramsey. We'll have Chris Hogan come in. But it's more of like that next level, not training, but next level, like taking your personal and professional lives to the next level. So we do offer enrichment, and it's super coach exclusive, so people have to have been through the training, but that is held here. So we do offer those, but it's total secondary, but it is an option for you as well. Let's see here. Let's see. Are coaches debt-free before becoming a financial coach? So it's more about the you remember, like, and Jesus talked about, like, there's heart issues and then there's, like, other issues. To us, it's a heart issue. We hired a guy that was in debt, and he was a coach on Dave Ramsey's staff. Dave came out of bankruptcy, as Bill talked about. It would be weird if we held you to a higher standard than we held ourselves. Now, if you're asking financially, should you be out of debt before attending the training? I would. I mean, that's the best thing for you. But you're asking me about our stuff, like, do you have to be out of debt to be a financial coach? The answer is no. Should you pay off your debt and then come to the training? Sure. Okay. Let's see here. Is leading Financial Peace University a good stepping stone to being a coach? Yeah. So here's the thing about leading Financial Peace University. It's more of a volunteer-based. It's more of you're pressing play on the DVD player. You're leading the small group discussions. Coaching is a whole nother level up. Coaching is where you're specifically getting down into someone's life. So they're not the same thing, but you could do that as well. Bill, this is going for you. Do you recommend taking FPU before we become coaches? Well, I'm going to say my part, and I want you to say your part, but we include FPU in the coach training.
Yeah, if you haven't gone through FPU, it's part of you'll have an opportunity to go through that as part of FCMT. It's one of the value adds. that we put in there, but it's also really important. So yeah, I mean, the reason is because there's a couple of reasons actually, not to make this a long-winded answer, but number one reason why we'd want you to go through FPU, because it works and it can help your financial situation no matter what it is, okay? Mm-hmm. That's thing one. Thing two, by going through FPU, it's a really good way to get grounded in our belief system, mm-hmm. what our organization believes about money, okay, what we believe to be true. You're dunked in that through FPU as well. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's a good idea.
Yeah. So a couple questions came in. Are you guys doing on-site trainings at all anymore? So not for the foreseeable future. We're invested now in online training. That's what we're going to do. That's what we put all our apples in, and that's what Dave's excited about. We're excited about. Again, we've had way more friction from people saying, man, I just can't get off work. I can't leave my kids. I can't do these things than we had. I have to come to Nashville. See, you can come to Nashville and not have to come here. You know, so you can still do that. And again, we offer those enrichments and things like that. So,
and in 2018, with the technology and so forth, we really feel that we can offer a really awesome blended learning experience that has some online components, live virtual and so forth. So mm-hmm. here again, you know, we're starting our 18th year. For a lot of years, it was just on site. The last couple of years, it was kind of a middle ground. And our learnings and our sledgehammer-esque feedback said that it was time to make this move, and we're excited about it.
Yeah. So a question came in about like, hey, what about coaches around the country? How many coaches are in my area? Things like that. So, guys, you remember Bill's stat earlier, 78%? Remember my number of 250 million? Guys, there are hundreds of coaches in the nation. There are millions of people that need help. We don't have any area that's saturated. Dave has been offering FPU for nearly 20 years, and only 3 million people have gone through the program. That's 1% of the nation. We're nowhere near any issue at all with saturation in any market in the country. That's the global statement for the questions. Okay? Let's see here. Let's see. How closely do we follow the Ramsey program when we start coaching? Well, you know, one of the best phrases that was ever said to me was that you need to replicate before you innovate. And, you know, we recommend that you replicate before you innovate. If you come out of the gate strong, could you imagine a doctor being like, hey, I know that this is the way you're supposed to do brain surgery, but I got an idea. No one wants to see that idea play out, okay? That's not the way that it works. There's some rules, there's some laws. We got to follow those things. And so, you know, I would tell you to replicate before you innovate, but I think you can always put your personality to it, and that's a key. So, guys, we're getting a ton of questions about husband and wives taking the training together, and we offer that spousal discount. I put my name and number up there for you. Please email me. Please call me. I'm going to dedicate some time today to answering those phone calls, answering those emails, and helping you guys get taken care of there as well. Let's see here. Okay. All right. I think this is a good question. I see that you mentioned a lot that this could be a side business, but it sounds like it isn't a full-time business opportunity. Based on the large need and lack of saturation, why is that? Because people are humans. We're a consumerist nation. We are a consumerist world. We spend more than we save. There will always be way more people to help than there are people that are helping. We do have coaches that are full-time. It's a smaller percentage, but most people do it as a part-time gig. If you launch any business, guys, it takes a Herculean effort. It takes a lot of effort to do that. But the need is not anywhere near in question.
Here's a question. Cheryl's asking about kind of how long it takes to do a lesson, and she has some things scheduled in her life and so forth. Mm-hmm. That's actually really good. We built the program just for those kind of scenarios. Again, people are busy. You could be busy at home. You could be busy at work. Again, 13 lessons. You go through them in order, but it's at your pace. Okay, so you know, a lesson. An hour or so. Again, there's a core video to watch. Then really it's application and exercises and webinars and so forth. So again, it really can be tailored around your schedule, Cheryl, and others who are asking or thinking that question. It's one of the strengths of the program, frankly.
Yep, absolutely. All right, guys. So as I told you, we're going to wrap up now. I told you we'd give away a seat, okay, to the training. And you already see my information up there. So again, as you guys have the questions that you want me to answer, spousal discounts, things like that, please go ahead and fire those off to the email. Give me a phone call. Let's talk about that this afternoon. We'll help you get set up. So the free seat is Chris R. Chris R., you are the winner of the free seat for the Financial Coach Master Training Online. Super excited for you to be a part of that. We will follow up with you, and we'll follow up with Tom J. about the book, and Chris R. will follow up with you about the free seat to Financial Coach Master Training Online. Seeing a lot of thank yous, guys. Super excited to have you be a part of this. We'll get those emails out to you just in the next 20 minutes and get you taken care of. Thanks so much, and y'all have a great rest of your afternoon.